Yes, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, your host with the most, Mr. The Still Lonely Nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, and Queens, New York native who is also a New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you are now rocking with me by tuning in, listening, streaming, and watching the 146th episode of the entertainment review show Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, live and direct from StreamYard, alongside with the comfort of my room and of course YouTube. Speaking of StreamYard, if you like to get in on the action on on getting a $10 discount, all you need to do is actually set up an account. You can use your email or your podcast email addresses and whatnot. So if you are a streamer that does gaming, and if you are a live streamer who does podcast episodes and other recordings, this one's for you. All you need to do, all you need to do is check out www.streamyard.com, so that way you'll be able to get the hookup of a $10 discount. All right. So there you go. All right. So leave a like and a comment on the YouTube channel page. And if you miss any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to catch up on the YouTube channel page. And of course, don't forget to leave a five star rating and a review of your feedback. Tell me how you feel about the topics that's being discussed in the review and all the other stuff. So So that way it'll give me the encouragement, the confidence for me to create more topics, more episodes, and of course, more content on this YouTube channel page. All right. All right. So we're gonna go into a little bit of music Kool-Aid land right here. And this segment right here is for not only music discographies but also hip hop histories and of course some other music related stuff. So I'm gonna start off right here with this music Kool Aid segment right here. Hold on. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty of this episode right here. So in today's episode, we'll go over the top 25 best albums so far, and after that, we'll go over the Midnight Club franchise Race to the Streets. So, yeah, so that's what the episode title is, Midnight Club franchise Race to the Streets, where we dedicate this episode to a racing game that was actually going to that actually teased in the last episode. So there you go. All right, so according to hip according to Hot New Hip Hop, um, we're officially halfway into 2025, which means Hot New Hip Hop is here with our best rap albums of 2025 so far list. When you think of the best rap albums of 2025, numerous different artists are going to come to mind. Overall, it is a testament to just how many phenomenal projects have been released so far this year. Since January 1st, Hot New Hip Hop has been documenting the biggest and best releases from all of hip hop's established and rising stars. Let's see. After 6 months that have just flown by, we are ready to present you with our top 25 best rap albums of 2025 so far. Our staff had to make some tough decisions, but as you will read, we are passionate about every single album on this list. While we don't expect you to agree with these placements, we appreciate you rocking with our list every single year. So, hang on one second here. So, we're going to get into this right here. So, honorable mention Wiz Khalifa, Kush, and Orange Juice 2. Wiz Khalifa had the blog era in a trance with his Kush and Orange Juice at the start of the last decade, while the feeling of the original wasn't totally accomplished here. Vibes of it are very much intact on the sequel 15 years later. It's modernized with even cleaner production with and we can appreciate Wiz bringing a nice blend of OGs and newcomers. It shows how far he's come since the predecessor and feels like a mini victory lap for the Pittsburgh native. All right, so number 25, Slick Rick Victory. 26 years following the release of The Art of Storytelling, Slick Rick is finally back with a new project called Victory. The album is part of Nas and Mass Appeal's Legend Has It series, which will include 7 albums from 7 legendary hip hop artists. Slick Rick's album was the first domino to fall, and it proved to be the perfect way to kick things off. From the very first track, Stress, Slick Rick delivers his signature flow that will immediately transport you back into the 90s. Don't get this confused with being dated. However, the MC manages to take you back in time while still sounding timeless. The production here is a modern take on the New York boom bap of the 90s, and it makes for a nostalgic feel. Slick Rick's storytelling continues to be his selling point, and his nonchalant flows are as infectious as ever. At 60 years old, damn, Slick Rick hasn't lost a step. He's given fans an inspirational body of work and one that will define 2025. Number 24, um, 1300 Saint All Hail. Young Thug's YSL imprint has introduced the rap world to some stars. His proteges, his protege, his proteges typically carry the torch of his unique sound. Although in the past, some of these artists have been received by the masses of as clones, as opposed to mentees. Um, Thankfully, 1300 Saint is breaking that mold as he has taken the Young Thug blueprint and has made it his own thing. His album All Hail is the perfect example of this. Throughout the project, we get the perfect mix of lavish beats and catchy auto tune soap flows. Overall, 1300 Saint has a phenomenal ear for melody, and that shines through on this effort. Songs like I See Red Gallery and The World Is Yours will serve as individual mission statements for the young MC, which will leave you in awe. With 1300 Saint YSL has a superstar on their hands. And with Young Thug gearing up to drop an album, we hope to hear some collabs between these two. Number 23, Lefty Gunplay, Jason Martin Can't Get Right. Lefty Gunplay is known for his heavily influenced gangster raps that don't require the most intricate metaphors or wordplay to make the song a hit. However, his new collaboration with Problem, now known as Jason Martin, tells a classic coming of age story about a man growing up in the neighborhood, which immediately grabs your attention with its relatable situations and old school samples. The 15 song track list secures an authentic LA hip hop sound, interweaving with authentic appearances by The Game, Jason Martin, Ty Dolla Sign, and RJMRLA. Creating his renditions, he samples classic LA radio hits such as Amanda Perez's Angel. Through honesty and loyalty, the album strips away the rapper's antics and displays a man looking for love, peace, and avoiding prison. In the album, he battles his family demons, street rivals, and juggles women. By the end of the album, you are rooting for Lefty Gunplay to escape the madness like we did Kendrick Lamar on Section 80 and Good Kid, Mad City. Number 22, number 22, Backwash. Only, only Dust Remains. 3 years removed from her last project, Backwash returned in March with the best work of her career in Only Dust Demon. No, Only Dust Remains, excuse me. Touching on themes of isolation, institutional violence, greed, bigotry, and more, the album serves as an examination of the apocalyptic landscape of the world around us. Despite the dire scene, Backwash is often fervently fighting back. She's unapologetic in her proclamations, belting out calls for free Palestine on the seventh track, History of Violence, as she describes vivid scenes of the bloodshed in Gaza. From the ashes of the environment that Backwash presents, she rises for a more hopeful and rebellious ending, sampling bell hooks for Love After Death, before beautifully tying up one of the best albums of the year on the title track. Number 21, West Side Gun 12. In February of this year, West Side Gun dropped off his first release of 2025, 12. The 11 track project is the 12th installment in his iconic Hitler Wears Hermes series. Oh shit. Oh wow. And includes features from the likes of oh of ST Knack, Stove God Cooks. Oh man. Brother Tom Souls. Oh man. And Elijah Hooks. Oh man, these names are fucking hilarious, man. All right. Anyway, it sees the Griselda co-founder take a step back to let his featured artist shine. On the verses, he does deliver. However, he maintains his signature unorthodox flow. Much like his album 11, 12 serves at least partially as a tribute to his close associate Big Dump, oh shit, who tragically passed away in 2024. Damn. Number 20, Central C, Can't Rush Greatness. For Central C, the past several years have embodied the slow grind to the top. He buzzed through the streets of London and beyond with the release of his first two mixtapes, and then came a string of high profile collaborations, an EP with Dave, a feature on J. Cole's Might Delete Later, and a tight knit relationship with Drake, all of which cemented the foundation of his debut album, Can't Rush Greatness, teetering between viral stardom and lyrical respectability. Central C's first full length outing is a bold, focused statement that bridges UK grit and global polish without comprising either. Across sleep production and razor sharp storytelling, C unpacks the weight of expectation, the disorient, disorient, disorienting effects of fame, and the growing distance between his past and present. While tracks like No Introduction and Limitless dig deep into mental health, loss, and ambition, others showcase his refined hit making instincts, whether flexing alongside Dave on CRG or tapping into crossover sensibilities with artists like Lil Durk and Young Miko. Not every risk lands, but Can't Rush Greatness proves Central C has the range, resolve, and presence to thrive well beyond UK borders. It's easily one of 2025's strongest debuts, cementing his global rise and long-term potential. Number 19, Mike and Tony Stelzer, Pinball 2. Over the last decade, Mike has earned his reputation as one of the best rappers out of New York through a number of nuanced and introspective projects like May God Bless Your Hustle and Weight of the World. In 2024, he switched up that tone for the more accessible Pitbull with Tony Seltzer, blending his own ability to weave together impressive flows with Seltzer's more upbeat production. It was a match made in heaven, and the project's sequel, Pinball 2 is no different. I'm in I'm in the stew with Tony Seltzer. We just raising hell. Mike raps on the opener Sin City with an even longer runtime than its predecessor. Pinball Pinball 2 is Mike at his most confident and and charismatic. Number 18, Fear Dorian, leaving home. At just 19 years old, Fear Dorian already has a hip hop resume worthy of the SoundCloud era's most prolific and groundbreaking trailblazers. While some of this shows up via their highly sought after production for other collaborators. Leaving Home is their best album statement so far that takes the Atlanta natives' blunt and hazy artistry in more versatile directions. Sparse but sharp percussion, nostalgia inducing sample flips, and deadpan deliveries are still here and as captivating as ever. But in comparison to previous projects, Leaving Home is both rainier and rowdier atmospherically, and a more direct reckoning with a clash of Dorian's mental cages and their unbridled confidence. Cloud rap, plug, and jerk inspirations have never sounded as wary, and it's a very compelling approach. Listening to this project is like leaving home in a few ways. The path forward is exciting and visceral, but some painful yet pivotal roots keep you grounded. Number 17, Lil Tecca, Dopamine. When Lil Tecca burst onto the scene with Ransom 6 years ago, no one could have predicted the artistic evolution that would follow. Of all the catchy hook writing, auto tune drenched SoundCloud stars of the last decade, Tecca is the one who has aged the most gracefully. At 22 years old, his songwriting ability is mature beyond his years, and Dopamine is a great example of that. Borrowing from the 90s pop radio aesthetics of video games like GTA Vice City, Tekka delivers an album packed with nostalgia. The opening track, Dark Thoughts, is a disco banger, while OWA pays tribute to Video Killed the Radio Star. A track like a track that, you guessed it, appears in GTA Vice City. That's Grand Theft Auto for those of you who may not know. Um yeah. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Songs like Forever Lie immediately remind you of Michael Jackson's production, while the radio skits make you feel like you are driving down Ocean Boulevard. Ocean Boulevard. Oh wow. Wait, let me see. Hold on. Hold on. Peter Alonso broke the record. All right. Oh shit. I will say I will say let me nah, I'll talk about that at the end. So anyway, anyway, yeah, this album contains some of Tekka's stickiest hooks and easily his best production. If he continues to go down this road, superstardom is on his horizon. Number 16, Ray Vaughn. The good, the bad, the dollar menu. Shit. Ray Vaughn isn't Dolce. He can't transcend to pop star status. However, he is the future of top dog entertainment in hip hop among the label's second generation. The good, the bad, and the dollar menu is the essential album that sets the foundation for the label moving forward. He captivates his he captivates with his imperfect story. The Long Beach, California rap star is often difficult to like throughout the album, as he reveals his dastardly actions towards his family while unveiling dark family secrets. On top of that, he is a man in survival mode, utilizing his wits, confidence, and swagger to tie together the good, the bad, and the ugly in West Coast productions. Shasta explores family trauma, while Suburban Kids and Miles Away from Heaven deliver introspective narratives. TDE alumni appear on the album to co-sign the promising rapper's future. Fans can't help but love the brutally honest storytelling by the end of the album. Number 15, Larry June and Two Chains featuring The Alchemist. Life is Beautiful. This February, Larry June and Two Chains and The Alchemist delivered their highly anticipated collaborative album, Life is Beautiful. The project plays to each of the artist's strong suits and features no guest appearances. It contains breezy bars prioritizing themes of mindfulness and well-being courtesy of June, while Two Chains lends his trademark bragg- braggadocio and wit. All of this is grounded by laid-back atmospheric production thanks entirely to the Alchemist to create what the trio calls lifestyle rap. While all of them brought something different to the table, they still managed to make the album cohesive, which keeps listeners engaged without it feeling disjointed. Reportedly, the project first started with a sample text from The Alchemist to Larry June when he had Two Chains had already been in the studio. What was supposed to be a five-pack quickly turned into more once they all joined forces and recognized their undeniable chemistry. Okay. Number 14, Osama Sun Jump Out. Glitchy beats are in right now, with each new generation suffering from severe attention span issues. Producers and MCs have to come up with new ways to keep your attention. Artists like Net Spin and Osama Sun have figured out the formula. These artists use busy production and they also treat autotune like an instrument as opposed to a pitch corrector. Of all the artists operating in this space, Osama Sun has mastered the craft. No album proves this more than Jump Out, which has become Jan Alpha's sacred text. The album is just 35 minutes long with 18 tracks, which means the average length is under 2 minutes. That is par for the course these days, but Osama Sun makes each second count. From his catchy flows to his ability to find pockets on beats that would make even the best rapper shudder. Osama Sun has proven himself to be one of the leaders of the youth movement in rap. While some may find this style of music unlistenable, it clearly resonates with the younger generation. The impact of this album is undeniable, and we can't wait to hear more from the artist. Number 13, Pink Saifu, Black Antique. Black Antique has everything amazing about hip hop rolled into one lengthy album, and the whole combination could have only come together thanks to Pink Saifu. He believes an artist should be one of one, and all the old, new, hype, and mellow inspirations in his artistry filter through a gritty, noisy, but nonetheless powerful lens. The the Birmingham multi hyphenate bravado could be right up in your face, or his reflections on black identity and heritage could inhabit chilled verses, but they still paint the picture of 2025's most dynamic rap odyssey. What's more is that a cavalcade, no cavalcade, excuse me, of featured guest performers, producers, visual artists, and more shine bright on Black Antique, making for a uniquely collective and free-flowing creative experience. Sure, the album is comfortable in stasis and in mediation throughout, whether aggressively or with um, melancholy, and it's a lot to take in. Yet that patience rewards more gems with each listen. Number 12, Rio da Young OG, Rio Free. In January, of 2025, Rio the Young OG kicked off the new year by unleashing his album Rio Free. The release followed his nearly 4 year long stint in prison over a gun charge and certainly didn't disappoint. The Flint, Michigan rapper returned with the same unrelenting energy that he displayed before serving his time. He explores themes of betrayal, paranoia, freedom, and more, dishing out unapologetically brutal rhymes about life behind bars and how it shaped him. There are no features on the album, which boosts production, by Wayne 616 along with Blue Strip. Real Free follows Rio the Young OG's album City on My Back, his first official studio album, as well as the last album he dropped before getting incarcerated. It also follows various projects he released from behind bars, which feature material recorded before he surrendered in 2021. This includes Fiend Lives Matter, the F Tape, and Rio Circa 2020. Critical acclaim is nothing new for Mike. Hold on a second. Number 11, Mike Showbiz. Critical acclaim is nothing new for Mike, who has already been celebrated for dropping some of the best music of the decade. But in 2025, he's on pace for two of the best albums of the year. Months before teaming up with Tony Seltzer and the uncharacteristically vibrant Pinball 2, he kicked off the year with Showbiz. The 24 track effort is laced with the existential quips and moral ponderings to which his fans have been accustomed, but with a new level of fame and perspective for the rapper behind them. The prize isn't much, but the price is abundant. He raps on artistry on artists of the country, artists of the century. On the rock, he tackles the fandom that comes along with this success. This success. Ending the song by sampling a fan showering him with praise. Overall, it's another rich and immersive addition to Mike's consistently impressive catalog. Number 10, Bruiser Wolf, Potluck. Bruiser Wolf's emerging popularity in Detroit hip hop adds another layer to the city's mixture of rap styles. Not since Pomona, California, rap legends Sugar Free have we had a rapper who combines pimp like mannerisms with street knowledge. While you can't help but laugh on the tracks like Dope Boy Diary and Mama's Stove, it its greatness is undeniable. Using the ugliest parts of Detroit, Wolf paints a masterpiece. Drawing solely on his creativity and minimal resources, he creates remarkable music that typically demands top tier talent from both underground and mainstream scenes. His sound is distinct and does not resemble any similar traits to those of any other Detroit rapper ever. Not Big Sean, Eminem, Boldy James. Oh shit. Trick or T Grizzly. Oh man. Potluck um succeeds, it surprises, challenges, and entertains, proving that Bruiser um, Wolf's voice is essential and refreshing in the current rap landscape. In 2025, no other album matches its wit and heart within the same budget. Number 9, Saba and No ID from the private collection of Saba and No ID. Chicago wordsmith Saba and legendary producer No ID teamed up for the long awaited from the private collection of Saba and No ID, an album that more than lives up to expectations. Saba delivers sharp personal bars over some of the most dynamic soundscapes of his career. On Breakdown, No ID flips Janet Jackson's I Get Lonely, and Saba reflects on fame and self improvement, while West Side Bound Part 4 with MFN Mellow is a hard hitting track built for big speakers. The emotional centerpiece, How to Impress God, finds Saba dealing with his material success and the spiritual emptiness it's brought him. Um, Overall, from the private collection of Saba and No ID is a near perfect marriage of both artists' strengths with No ID's detailed production and Saba's candor. It's deliberate, spirited, and authentic to both men's sensibilities as hip hop artists. It feels like the start of something special, and hopefully, they get to run it back someday soon. Number 8, Nino Paid, Love Me As I Am. This 2025 Double XL freshman proves that deep introspection and wrenching narrative don't have to skip out on lyrical simplicity or contemporary trap gloss to hit hard. Love Me As I Am is one of the year's most creative and idiosyncratic projects for how covertly and sneakily it worms its thematic woes into some of the most fun and candy-like production you'll hear in hip hop these days. Keys, as the album cover suggests, take up a lot of the melodic draws on this album, but their direction fits on a lot of different contemporary rap styles, and Nino Pate floats over each and every one. More importantly, this is the mainstream breakout that reckons with its success and with the responsibility on its shoulders in clear, vivid, and honest ways. There is death and strife all over Love Me As I Am, but its personal triumph fulfills its title's wishes. Number 7, Mac Miller, Balloonerism. Balloonerism. Matt Miller displayed just how well he can walk the fine line between upbeat and depressing on the second posthumous release, Balloonerism, made around a really experimental time during his career. The multi hyphenate successfully focused on topics like drug addiction, fears of growing up and dying, all while softening the blow through the production and his sometimes loose singing performances with lots of live instrumentation, light drums, and chill melodies. Mac, Thundercat, Taylor Graves, Dylan Reynolds, and Kentaro, among others, kept the spirits as high as they possibly could. It gives you a sense of comfort while listening to the album, knowing that everyone isn't as confident in the future as you think they may be. In a way, Mac is encouraging those who have doubts to just life take you where it wants to, and to not be so fixated on making every right decision. While it is a sad mood piece at times, there's a sense of calmness too. We will take that, especially with all of the negativity that's permeated throughout 2025. Number six, Number 6 is Gaius Guv- Guevara. Guevara. Guevara, excuse me. I don't even know how to. I don't even know how. So Go Yard. Um, Goyard IBN said, the best part about Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl 59 halftime show was hearing um, Gaius Guevara's "The Old Guard is Dead" play before the performance. The Philly MC and produces politically charged, spiritually impassioned, and sonically gritty artistry was defined well before this moment. But the acclaim and visibility he's garnered for it have made the snakes in the grass that much closer to diluting his work. Goyard IBN said fearlessly, rejects the compromise while still improving Gaius Guevara's skills as a spitter, writer, and beatsmith. It's arguably 2025's best conceptual record with key contrast between hedonism, responsibility, and the rappers and force of consumption who try to play both sides. For all the striking colonial and capitalist critiques on here that pull no punches where other MCs just use them as aesthetics. This is still a very enjoyable, seamless, and blazing listen that condemns hip hop mediocrity, whether artistically or morally. Number five, McKinley Dixon, Magic Alive. McKinley Dixon followed up his critically acclaimed 2023 effort, Beloved Paradise Jazz, with yet another brilliantly devised project in the form of Magic Alive. This time around, he wrestles with the weight of death and the strangeness of confronting it at a young age. He presents a story of three friends who tragically lose a fourth and wrestle with the ensuing turmoil. They turn to their childlike imagination in a surreal attempt at resurrection. The setup provides a canvas for Dixon to tackle complex thematic ideas that strike at the very core of what it means to be alive. Once again, he's using beautifully unranged jazz samples and live instrumentation as the backdrop for his carefully constructed lyrics. Across 11 tracks, Dixon jam packs the music with glamorous production that constantly blends genres while he shifts flows and delivery. Several guest appearances too, including Quell Chris, Gaius Guevara, Pink Saifu, Blue, and more, each providing their own insight on the themes Dixon introduces. For Blue's contribution on the closing track, he raps from the perspective of a poster on the wall in Dixon's bedroom, advising him to find meaning in life through self-assurance. I think you know the answer is right in your catalog. McKinley, you showed me the importance of self-belief, be be loved, be jazzed. You don't gotta be me, he raps. The narratively dense and stylistically eclectic album easily ranks as one of the best of 2025. That's pretty lit. Let's see. Number four, Key Glockavelli. Rhymes with Machiavelli. Oh shit. Oh my gosh. Key Glock has long displayed tremendous potential dating back as far as the first glaucoma mixtape and becoming more apparent on his Dumb and Dumber Dumb and Dumber collaborations with his cousin-in-law, the late Young Dolph. The young rapper reached that potential on Glockavelli, his official major label debut. Glockavelli features the most impressive rapping displays of Glock's young career a wide range of the most cinematic soul sampling trap beats, he could find a stylistic choice that separates him from most of all his Memphis peers. Glock is in top form, rapping at an occasionally dizzying pace about the streets, luxury, and women. Blue Devil and 3 a.m. in Tokyo are examples of him at his very best. Most most focused lyrically, She Ready is about as close as going to get to a Key Glock love song, where his cynicism outweighs any pleasantries that he could possibly deliver. It would be easy to label Key Glock as a one note trap rapper that would be doing a tremendous disservice to this album. Glockavelli features some of the most unique sounds to come out of Memphis in years and stands as both his most consistently great album to date and comfortably among the releases of the first half of 2025. Number three, Playboy Cardi, Music. With the big three discourse dead in the water, few albums this year have stirred the culture like Playboy Cardi's Music. Arriving after years of teases, leaks, and half confirmations, Music rewards patience with a chaotic, star-studded spectacle that blurs the line between punk, trap, and gothic experimentation. In a post Migos, post YSL Atlanta, Cardi has emerged not just as a scene leader, but as a generational outlier wielding a raw, abrasive sound that's as jarring as it is hypnotic. His voice contorts into snarls and growls, often serving more as an instrument than a narrator, letting cavernous production and glitchy textures dictate the flow. DJ Swamp Izzo's drops bring a dose of mixtape era nostalgia, while Kendrick Lamar, The Weeknd, Travis Scott, and Future help elevate the album into blockbuster territory. Even when Cardi cedes the spotlight, his vision remains unmistakable, provocative, maximalist, and impossible to pin down. Music, it thrives in discord, not in cohesion. The themes are familiar, but the delivery feels alien. And while its ambition occasionally outruns its execution, Cardi's dare, daring still makes music one of 2025's most compelling listens, an unfiltered snapshot of a pioneer charging forward, unconcerned with who follows or not. Number two, Little Sims, Lotus. The acclaimed London rapper returned with another bold concept record this year, and you can easily make the argument that it's the best hip hop has had to offer. The lead up to Simbi's Simbi's sixth studio album was a bit heartbreaking and concerning to witness though. Her longtime friend and producer, who goes by Inflow, had a major falling out over an alleged failed loan repayment that's equivalent to $2.3 million. Wait, $2.3 million? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay, It left Little Sims unable to pay her taxes for last year and led her to file a lawsuit against him. So with Inflow now out and Miles James, who also worked on Sometimes I might be introvert in. How does Lotus sound? It's not as sprawling and fantastical as that record, but that's partially because Lil Sims is in a different mindset right now, excuse me. As such, there's some production that we have never seen in her tackle before. There's instances where she takes on a more intense and hungry personality thanks to these primal and incredibly grimy beats on tracks like Thief or Flood, for example. But there's the epic tracks that she's known for, like Blood featuring Wretch 32 and Cash, which showcases this emotional therapy session between brother and sister. With the album fittingly being about resilience, rebirth, and enlightenment, Sims successfully converts her legal ordeal to fuel for the next phase for her personally and musically. And finally, number one, Billy Woods. I'm not sure what the rest of the G letter stands for. I'm not sure, but anyway, one of the most quoted lines from Billy Woods' latest masterpiece appears on the very first track, Jump Scare. The English language is violence. I hotwired it. I got a hold of the master's tools and got dialed in. If you are a fan of the backwoods exponent, you probably connect with this line thanks to many records in his discography. But in this case, of the best rap LP of 2025 so far, and likely the whole year. It's incredible to hear how such an all-encompassing portrait of Woods' artistry is still so hyper specific and unique in its presentation. There is murderer's row of some of the best producers in the game right now on this album, and they provide some of the most haunting, atmospheric, intoxicating, and grueling beats they have ever to put to wax. Rather than a strict narrative tying themes of black diaspora, historical subjugation, and violently rooted racism together, each track is like a horror movie scene of its own. But to reduce Billy Wood's latest to horrorcore or an exercise in literally an academic word worship would take away from the harsh reality and traumatic inheritance that roots the whole LP in today's socio-political climate. To put it bluntly, Woods' reference to a racist caricature is much more about the treatment and image thrust upon black people worldwide today than it is about how things were in the late 19th century. Perhaps more accurately, the verses on this record from Woods and his guests connect these ideas as a constant um, through line, not an evolution. Speaking of which, the Washington, D.C. born New York City based writer is as skilled as ever on the mic, with this new album including some of the weird, weariest, but also most author, 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 authoritative deliveries across his lauded career. He takes control of a record in a way very few other rappers can, and his smaller narratives and character um, port- portraits on this LP are a big reason why. Never does the door close for cynical wit. pessimistic humor, and cheeky one-liners to pull through. But these quips and phrases can become dour quick, and all the more powerful for their brief yet direct con- condemnations and reflections. Back to that jump scare line, perhaps it's also reductive to chalk up Billy Woods' magic to historical awareness. There's a keen sense of indignation, resistance, and identity on here, for better or worse, defines 2025. All right. You know what? Before I go on to the video game chamber, I wanna actually, I never did this on here, right? I never did this on here. Um I never did this on here. So I want to actually squeeze in this segment right here. Podcast free game mechanisms right here. So let's get to it. Let's get to it right here, man. I want to get this out the way before I go over the racing game franchise. So let's do that. All right, this is a segment where I give you folks at home that is actually wanting to start a podcast. So I figured I'd take the liberty before doing the other segment of the video games chamber, to actually give y'all some tips on the types of equipment that you need. That's very important, and 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 how to proceed. So the first thing you need is some headphones. You need you also need a laptop alongside with a microphone, and of course, you can get yourself some ring lights that comes with the USB plug that goes with it for lighting purposes. If you have like a YouTube channel, Twitch account, Kick account, X account, Facebook account, whatever account you're trying to do, um, it'll work. And for the most part, was very important, I could say, as a host of a podcast like myself and stuff, is to to say this though. It's very important that you be yourself behind the microphone as you are recording your podcast episodes, and of course the topics that you are going to cover. All right. And don't worry about the fucking haters who have nothing good to say about anybody whatsoever. And and you know ask yourself this question: are you doing this for the money and moment, or are you doing this as a hobby, the love, and doing it as a therapeutic way to have fun? Um, you can't have both, actually. Um, but hey, it may work for some podcasters to have sponsor ads, but it's not fucking easy to actually get sponsor ads and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Don't worry about the amount of subscribers you have on YouTube. All that is going to come in due time. It's a day by day process, and it's a fucking marathon, not a sprint, when it comes to creating content and coming up with topics on a consistency basis. So be on your P's and Q's. Very important. Despite what's going on, despite what's going on in stressful events in life and all that other stuff. So, you know, don't let your mental mistakes or anything like that condemn you or stop you from doing what you love to do. All right. And you're not going to please everybody and make them happy. The only person that you need to make is yourself. You have to please yourself before you even try to please others. All right. So, another tip that I want to give to up and coming new podcasters is that you don't need a lot of money to spend at expensive recording studios because they are so expensive. And I say that because I was talking to a niece of mine that's from Long Island, where a cousin of mine took me to in Long Island actually, and I met them, actually. So she told me that her friends wants to start a podcast, and I actually had to be the person to give out some tips. And in order for you to actually get the recognition and people paying attention, you have to have social media in order for you to promote your podcast because it's very important. It's very important. Like look at me when I started three of my podcasts between 3 to 5 years ago, going actually two other podcast shows 3 years ago, now going on to four. With this podcast, it's like the 4 3 year it's like the 4 year anniversary actually of Meticulous Virtues podcast. Actually, I forgot to celebrate that in the last episode. I didn't have time to do that. So I figured I celebrate this milestone and everything else to show and inspire people and encourage people to be confident in your craft. Be confident in what you're trying to cover as far as trending topics, whatever it may be. Like for me, I always say and ask myself, what does comedy, entertainment, as far as TV shows, movies, video games, tech, and sports got in common? And basically relief of laughter to get away from all the stressful shit that's going on as far as like, stupid political shits. So, you know what I'm saying? Like like I said, just be yourself, be on your P's and Q's, and of course, whatever name of your podcast you come up with, um, let's hope that it has a story and a unique meaning behind it that nobody has ever heard before. All right. So yeah. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say right there. And I could add one I could add one or two more things actually as some tips. If you are going to create a YouTube channel, all you need to do is have like a supporting software. Like I'll throw in StreamYard, which is what I use actually. StreamYard is one of the best supporting softwares that I use for my podcast recordings on YouTube because you know with StreamYard you get to record your live streams, whether you're gaming, whether you are podcasting, especially now that they added X to it. You can record on X, you can record on Instagram, you can record on Facebook, you can record on Kick, you can record on YouTube, and um that new app that the people from StreamYard actually added. I will talk about that and circle around back next time I do podcast free game mechanisms and my other primary show that's doing well. My comedy off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel G Money Stacks 555 for episodes that already dropped already. I dropped 411 and 412 yesterday, and all that great stuff. So the more of the story is um, be yourself. You don't need a lot of money to go to a fancy studio and to waste money on camera angles and whatnot. All you need is a laptop alongside with um, headphones, microphone, ring lights. Even you can add LED lights to your room, the comfort of your room where you are recording whatsoever. Which is very rare. And the first time I actually heard about this is from Michael Rappaport and Ryan Finkelstein, because it kind of works for them. Actually, it kind of works for them. So, you know what I mean. Do what works for you. All right, do what works for you. And also, I want to add something to this. Um, you can set up your podcast recording schedule any day of the week, despite the fact whether you are taking college courses in the daytime or anything like that. I think the most likely ideal way to actually get your podcast off the ground, that's if you have the evenings to yourself. I think the best way to start a podcast is to set up a time in the evening where you don't have to worry about contemplating on doing it in the daytime, because during the day everybody's busy at work, so they may not have time to listen, but they'll get around to it. So don't worry about any of that right there. In due time, you'll be able to gain all the listeners, the subscribers, and the community all together will be built in due time. Because you got to remember, this is a marathon when it comes to creating content for your podcast and everything else you're trying to promote. It's not a sprint. All right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say on there, actually. And also, I did mention another podcast that I started 3 years ago. It's about to be a 4 year anniversary of my sports edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the sports YouTube channel page. I dropped episodes 101 and 102. And if you missed out on episodes 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, and 102, please feel free to actually catch up on the episodes on YouTube and all that great stuff right there, man. And I will be recording episode 103 tomorrow at 6 after my dinner is done. So there you go right there. Now we can go to the video games chamber, man, where I actually go over some video games that already came out, and of course some video game news, which I'll gladly get into right here, right now in the video games chamber. So let's get to it right here. Yes, today's episode titled Midnight Club Franchise Race to the Streets is dedicated to the franchise racing game that came out years ago. Um, all right, so we're gonna get into it right here, right now. So let's rock with this right here for a sec, actually. Um, Midnight Club was one of the best racing games that actually played, and of course Need for Speed and the other franchise whatsoever, which I actually will go over that in a future episode and on the great show. So stay tuned for that. All right, so Midnight Club Street Racing is a 2000 racing video game developed by Angel Studios and published by Rockstar Games. The game focuses on competitive street racing and the import scene. Two distinct versions of the game were released for the PlayStation 2 and Game Boy Advance platforms. The former the former being a launch title for the platform. It is the first game in Midnight Club franchise, followed by Midnight Club 2, which I'll talk about that next. The PlayStation 2 version received generally favorable reviews, while the Game Boy Advance version received mixed reviews, according to the review aggregation website Metacritic. Estimated sales of the game were 1.5 million units, and with series sales reaching 2.5 million. Let's talk about the gameplay here. Midnight Club Street Racing is a racing video game that focuses on the import scene and illegal street racing. Players can improve on, excuse me, can explore the open world or in organized street races. Hold on. A career mode has the player working their way up in the street racing world, feature defeating named opponents in various races, ultimately resulting, in pink slip races to win the opponent's car. Yeah, anyway, the game features 17 cars for the player to win throughout the career mode, ranging from taxi cabs, buses, and other city vehicles to fictional representations of vehicles resembling famous Toyota, Nissan, and Honda tuner vehicles. Arcade mode allows players to compete in various game mode challenges and to play in two-player split screen multiplayer. This feature this features four modes: capture the flag, cruise, head to head, and waypoint. Players can again compete for pink slips from various racers. Each named racer has three variants of the same car. The the player earns these with successive wins. Each new version of the car is an improved version of the previous car. Environments have many destructible objects such as trees, bushes, lampposts, and trash cans. Each local features police cars that will attempt to arrest the player based on their illegal actions, along with Turbo, E Spirit, and Midtown Madness. The game pine- pioneered the use of an open world environment design instead of predefined circuit tracks. Hold on. Let's see. Let me see. Pre-circuit tracks. Yeah, 2 locals are available to players: New York City and London. Each city contains landmarks from their respective real-life counterparts. Some of London's visible landmarks include Tri Trifa Trafalgar Square. Trafalgar Square. The Palace of Westminster and its Big Ben and the Tower Bridge. New York includes such landmarks as Times Square, the Empire State Building, the World Trade Center, Rockefeller Center, United Nations Plaza, Plaza Hotel, Madison Square Garden, Washington Square Park, and the Wall Street Bull, Battery Park, and Central Park. All right. So I'm not even so So, a mysterious group of urban street races known as the Midnight Club race for pride, power, and glory in secretly customized enhanced sports cars. As a regular New York City cab driver, the player learns about the secret club and decides to join. The player begins with a relatively unmodified and slow vehicle, that being the taxi, through a series of races, each with different goals. They defeat other racers and win faster and more expensive vehicles. The goal is to defeat the world champion, who is revealed to be a young Japanese woman named Anika, whose father manufactures concept cars in Japan. Being the only person to beat her in a race, the player is the only one who sees her identity and become the world champion of the Midnight Club, along with winning her concept car. Anika Anika returns to Japan afterwards. And Midnight Club was unveiled in January 2000 in a press release. The PlayStation 2 version was developed by Angel Studios and published by Rockstar Games. The Game Boy Advance version was developed by Rebellion Developments and published by Destination Software. They were released on October 26, 2000 and November 9th, 2001, respectively. It was released alongside the American release date of PlayStation 2 as a launch title. As part of promoting the game, Rockstar Games received permission from the city of New York to shut down Times Square in order to photograph promotional material and box art for Midnight Club. The game's soundtrack features house and techno artists Derek May and Surgeon, and drum and bass band Dom and Roland. Terry Donovan's COO of Rockstar Games said that their passion for creating superior music versus conforming to the industry standard is what makes them and their music truly unique, and further stated that the music represents the dark motivation of the members of the Midnight Club. Gameplay is locked to 30 frames per second. Let's get to the reception here. Let's get to the. I'm not even going to go there on this. So let's get to the reception. So the PlayStation 2 version received generally favorable reviews, while the Game Boy Advance version received mixed or average reviews, according to the review aggregation website Metacritic. Douglas C. Perry of IGN was positive to the PS2 version of the game, citing the car selection, level design of the cities, graphics, and fun gameplay in single and multiplayer. Multiplayer. Jeff Gertzman of GameSpot called it a fun arcade style racer. Sean Sanders of Game Revolution, however, was less positive to the game and cited the graphics as bland. Kevin Rice of Next Gen called an addictive arcade racer with excellent graphics and a rock solid frame rate. Lamb Chop of GamePro concluded in one review, if you are looking for some new nightlife on your PlayStation 2, you should definitely join the club. In another GamePro review, the freshman called it a good game that could have been great with a little more attention paid to really pushing the PS2. It's still one of the better launch titles and a shoe-in for anyone who wants something different in their driving games library. For the Game Boy Advance version, Nintendo Power called it a decent, if not repetitive, drive. Skylar Miller of All Game felt that Midnight Club's GBA, which is Game Boy Advance version, was a slow, confusing version of Grand Theft Auto, but without the crime and the fun. IGN's Craig Harris noted that the top-down perspective, while efficient use of the Game Boy Advance's limited resources made gameplay difficult, but due to this perspective, he noted that the players would never know where the track is going. Let's see. Um, yeah. Where was I? Yeah. Where was I? Yeah. So he felt this design choice forced in trial and error gameplay and was very frustrating for players. Harris gave poor marks for the very basic AI drivers. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Lastly, he criticized the password save system with particular on the fact that if a player does not write down the password while on screen, there is no way to recover that password, effectively causing players to lose progress. In December 2000, the PlayStation version ranked fifth in total PlayStation 2 game sales. In February 2001, the game placed ninth in overall sales. By July 2006, the PlayStation 2 version sold 1.5 million units and earned $43 million. That's $43 million. Yes, $43 million in the US. In the US, Next Gen ranked it as the 32nd highest selling game launched for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, or GameCube between October 2000 and July 2006 in that country. In that country, combined sales of Midnight Club's console releases reached 2.5 million units in the US by the latter date. The PS2 version was a runner up for the best driving game and best game no one played awards at GameSpot's Best and Worst of 2000 awards, which went to Test Drive Lee Lehman's and Samba de Amigo. The game won the award for Racing Game of 2000 in both Editor's Choice and Reader's Choice at IGN's Best of 2000s award for PS2. Yeah. Wait a second. So there is a Midnight Club too. I want to actually go over that too. In case anybody's wondering, I'm actually watching the Mets versus the Brewers game right now on my Android tablet, and so far they lead 3-2. That's why you. That's why I'm leaning. I'm leaning. I'm looking. I'm multitasking here. So just bear with me here. Oh shit! The game is tied. Ain't that some shit? Anyway, Midnight Club 2 is a 2003 racing game developed by Rockstar San Diego and published by Rockstar Games. It is the sequel to Midnight Club Street Racing, published for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Microsoft Windows, and first in series to feature motorcycles. Players can race through cities such as Los Angeles, Paris, and Tokyo. It is the second game in Midnight Club franchise, followed by Midnight Club 2. No, excuse me, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. I'll get to that one next. Let's go to the gameplay. Race's career in arcade consists of a series of checkpoints represented by columns of light. In most races, the order in which the checkpoints must be cleared is prescribed. In this case, a transparent glowing arrow points to the next checkpoint. In a few other races, the checkpoints may be cleared in any order. In that case, the arrow spins randomly without pointing in any particular direction. Um, it is up to the player which route to take from one checkpoint to the next. There are no artificial barriers in the game's open world environment that force the player to stay on a specific course. Any area that is drivable or jumpable in the free roaming cruise mode between races may be used to get to the next checkpoint. Excuse. Some areas can be driven upon that are not intended for such use outside of a computer game. Examples are escalators, railways, and riverbeds, and many ramps. However, many areas that would be drivable in reality, for example, entrances and some stairs, are fenced off with invisible barriers. In some areas, the player can jump or drop down. Using this to the player's advantage can be necessary in order to win a race. If the car fail, excuse me, if the car falls into deep water, the damage meter goes to its maximum stage, and the car is instantly totaled. The race being immediately lost. Various details. Oh shit. various de- oh man, various details have been improved compared to its predecessor, Mid- Midnight Club Street Racing. Vehicles and cities have been developed from scratch, but many new features were added as well. Two-wheel drive, burnout, weight balance for motorbikes were all unique to the game. The game also features damage models. The amount of damage inflicted upon a car is indicated by both an HUD HUD indicator and visual damage to the car. The performance of a car does not degrade with damage like some other racing games. When the damage of when the damage limit of a car is exceeded, the car explodes or stalls. After a delay of a few seconds, the player can continue with an undamaged version of the same car. Oh shit. Dry, hilly suburbs and congested interstates can be found throughout Los Angeles, and just like its predecessor, uh, the city contains many landmarks as well as numerous shortcuts and jumps. Paris is the home to cobblestone alleyways, monumental roundabouts, and the Paris catacombs, as well as jump across the river Seine, Seine, and into alleyways. Tokyo is a city of neon glittering avenues and tight alleyways, and contains an equal array of tourist sites and attractions. The vehicles in Midnight Club differences to their count, such as different headlamps or taillights. Also, most of them have aesthetical modifications commonly found in street racing and in port scenes, such as spoilers, hood scoops, and body kits. In the car selection menu, descriptions and stats of the vehicle can be seen along with the option to choose among four colors. Once a car is viewed, a sound effect unique to that car is played in the underground. Each character will cruise around the city waiting for a challenge. This excludes Moses, who helps the player begin the career mode, as well as the four champions who will seek the player out after all predecessors are beaten. They will talk to the player or think loudly during pre-race cutscenes, during which the player can discover their motives, see the statistics of the vehicle, and learn each character's unique theme song. Midnight Club 2 also features an online multiplayer component. The Xbox version was supported through Xbox Live, which was shut down on April 15, 2010. The game is now supported online with replacement online servers for the Xbox called Insignia. Wait, what the hell is Insignia? I'll do that. Look, I'm gonna do that some other time, man. I'll do that some other time. I'll do that some other time, actually. All right, so the album was released at E3 in 2003 as a promotional gift. It consisted of mainly techno and trance music, along with trap music. The soundtrack contains 38 tracks produced by various artists. The tracks Outrun and Extra Dry were featured from the 2002 film Irreversible and produced by Thomas Bangalter. Now let's go to the reception. The game was met with positive reception. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Yeah, yeah. The game was met with positive reception. Metacritic gave it a score of 85 out of 100 for the PlayStation 2 version, 86 out of 100 for the Xbox version, and 81 out of 100 for the PC version. Okay. Entertainment Weekly gave it a B plus and stated that whether racing against the clock or attempting to beat the other drivers in checkpoint contests, memorizing the maps and finding the many shortcuts is crucial. The Village Voice gave the PS2 version a score of 8 out of 10 and wrote that the only way Rockstar could make the game better would be to set it in Boston, where drunks get kicked out of the bars long after the tea has shut down. Flooding construction choked highways. Maximum also gave the game a score of 8 out of 10 and said that it may not boost garages bloated with the usual name brand chick magnets you will find in other racing games, but the dark racing underbelly of Midnight Club 2 has every bit as many thrills as the leading grease monkey um Autopia. Playboy gave it 75 and noted its controls as touchy and imprecise. All right, now we can go to Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. So, for those of you who may not know about that, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition is a 2005 racing video game developed by Rockstar San Diego and published by Rockstar Games. It is the third installment in the Midnight Club series. Like previous installments in the series, the game is an arcade-style racer and focuses on wild, high-speed racing rather than realistic physics and driving. The name is derived from a partnership between Rockstar and Dub Magazine, um, which features heavily in the game in the form of Dub sponsored races and Dub customized vehicles as prizes. Okay, yeah, and of course director Darren Bader. This is yeah, producer Jay Panic, Glenn Hernandez, Eric Smith, designer Jeff Pedas Pedasny, Chris Roberts, Mauro Fior, and programmer Robertson, Michael Carrington, Tim Loback, artist Scott Stobes, David Hong. Um, so yeah, there you go, right there. Um, players Players race through open world recreations of San Diego, Atlanta, and Detroit, listening to 98 124 in the remix version, licensed music tracks that include hip hop and other genres. The game features a number of graphical views after the player crashes into certain objects or travels across particular stretches of road. The There is the ability to customize a player's vehicle other than modifying the external looks. The vehicle's performance can also be improved, with the exception of all A class non motorcycle vehicles. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition is the first game in the series to feature licensed vehicles. In March 2006, an updated version of the game was released titled Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, which featured new vehicles, races, and music, as well in additional mode called Tokyo Challenge, which features an altered Tokyo map from Midnight Club 2. All right, now we go to the gameplay. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition is an open world racing game and the first game in the series to include car modification, both visual and performance. By winning races, the player unlocks new cars and options to customize them with. These options include enhancing the performance, adding vinyls and new paint jobs, and physically modifying the car by changing parts such as wheels, bumpers, spoilers, neon, hoods, and engine components. The cars are divided into four classes: D, C, B, and A, depending on their performance. There are five types of races in the game: ordered race, circuit race, unordered race, autocross race, track, and frenzy. In ordered races, the player races through the city on a course marked by yellow-orange flares to reach a finish line. Finish line, yeah, a finish line. In circuit races, the player races along a circuit course through the city for a set number of laps. In ordered races, the player is free to go through scattered checkpoints in any order before crossing the finish line. Autocross races take place in a walled in circuit of the street with no traffic or police. The goal being to finish the circuit faster than a set time. Track events available in arcade mode are similar to autocross races, except that the player competes against other races inside the barricaded track, often taking more damage. Frenzy events are also available in arcade and are time trial races, which have some vehicular combat elements where, for example, the player gets every 15 seconds of a nitrous boost. Also, the e-brake will not work and the race only ends when the time is over. Players can also create their own races in the race editor. Players can create either a circuit, ordered or unordered race by placing checkpoints throughout the city, and can change racing conditions such as traffic, weather, and time of day. Vehicles, there are seven types of cars, which includes tuners, luxury sedans, SUVs, trucks, exotics, muscle cars, sports bikes, and choppers. As the game continues, different clubs that drive a specific type of car will invite the player to race with them. American Royalty Car Club, which is muscle cars, big players, which is SUVs and trucks, by invitation only, which is exotics, chopper of America, bike club, which is choppers, luxury roll, excuse me, luxury rollers, which is luxury cars, original riders, which is sports bikes, and unbeatable street races are which is which are tuners. If the player beats a club in three races, they unlock a special ability for that class. Tuners, sports bikes, exotics, the Lexus SC430 and Mercedes Benz SL500, which is R230, along with its higher performance AMG variant. The SL55 gets zone, a form of allows for more precise handling at high speeds. Trucks, SUVs, and luxury cars get argo. No, excuse me, agro, which allows the vehicle to plow through traffic and other obstacles without taking damage or slowing down. And muscle cars and choppers get roar. The only offensive ability it launches a sonic wave that blows away any vehicles in its path. All right, so multiplayer. The game includes an online mode where players can race with other players from all around the world. There are also many clubs available to join, but players can also start and manage their own. Most offline modes are available for play online. While in online mode, it is possible to chat in game, including a cruise mode, capture the flag, circuit racing, ordered racing, unordered racing, tag, paint, and autocross. Tracks created via the race editor offline can be used online. On Xbox Live, the game also supports voice chat. Xbox Live was shut down on April 15, 2010. Midnight Club 3 Double Edition is now supported online with replacement online servers for the Xbox called Insignia. San Diego. The player begins in San Diego by meeting Oscar, played by David Barrera, the mechanic of 619 Customs, a tuning garage in San Diego. Oscar guides the player through the game by providing helpful tips and information about races. The player begins with a choice of six cars: a 1964 Chevrolet Impala, a 1978 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, a 2004 Dodge Neon SRT, four, a 2004 Mitsubishi Eclipse GTS, a Volkswagen Golf R32 MK4, or a 2004 Volkswagen Jetta. Dub Edition Remix added the option of a Scion TC. As the player wins races, new customization options and cars are unlocked for purchase. The street races available to challenge at the beginning of the game are Vanessa, which is Mitsubishi Eclipse GTS, Bishop Lexus GS430, and Carlos 1978 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Beating each of these street races will unlock an invitation to challenge a racing club the rival racer is part of. Vanessa unlocks the unbeatable races, the unbeatable street races, tuners, which rewards the player with a Nissan Skyline GTR R34. Bishop unlocks the luxury rollers, luxury sedans which rewards the player with the Mercedes-Benz CL55 AMG C215, and Carlos unlocks the American Royalty Club car. American Royalty Car Club muscle cars, which rewards the player with a Chevrolet Corvette C3. Beating two of these street races will allow the player to challenge Phil for ownership of his hot match Q Vito and an invitation to challenge the Chopper of America Bike Club. Once the player defeats Phil along with winning one of the three initial tournaments, Vanessa will challenge them again, this time driving an upgraded Mitsubishi Eclipse GTS. After defeating all races except for one of Bishop or Carlos and winning one of the tournaments in San Diego, the player is introduced to Vince, um, played by Kif Vanden um, Huvo, a mechanic from Detroit. Oscar mentions that the player has been building a reputation as a skilled racer and that there are some big time races in Atlanta that the player may be interested in. He tells the player to shipping the company ship to the shipping company rather to make the trip. Atlanta, aka Hotlanta, the player arrives at a garage in Atlanta called Upon Team Racing. The owner, Upon, played by Dexter Tillis, introduces himself, but is distracted by his most prized possession, a 1964 gold painted Chevrolet Impala that he customized and is constantly tinkering with. In Atlanta, the player is challenged by three cars. There is also a tournament going on, which the prize is a dubbed out 2004 Cadillac Escalade um, EXT. After defeating all races except for either Dre and Chang or Vito and Naomi in Atlanta, Apone mentions that there are more races going on in Detroit and that he thinks it is a good idea for the player to check it out. Street races in Atlanta are Roy with the 1969 Dodge Charger RT. Later, a 1999 Dodge Charger RT concept. Dre with the 2005 Cadillac Escalade second generation. Chang with the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8. Vito played by Vito with the Ducati Monster S4R. Lamont with the Chevrolet Silverado SS. Later returns in a Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR Strassen version during the U.S. Championship, and Naomi hot match Scully. Defeating Vito unlocks the original riders' sports bikes. Defeating Dre or Lamont unlocks the big players' SUV trucks. Um, all right, the Detroit. The player arrives in Detroit and sees a familiar face. Vince remembering him. Um, he welcomes the player to town and his shop. He later points to a Lamborghini, um, Mer, Mercy Lago, and says it is the price to whatever car club turns out the best street racer. A familiar face from Atlanta comes to Detroit. Roy, who is a plot affected racer but is never seen or mentioned. The player races them a couple of times as well as the car clubs. Early in the player's Detroit career, a tournament is held and a 1949 Chevrolet Fleetline is the prize. Upon defeating Caesar is the first encounter, the player scores a challenge from the by invitation only exotic car club. Defeating them earns the player a special rare 2004 Chrysler ME 412 with Zone 4 exotics being unlocked after the third race. After defeating all races in Detroit, the player races certain drivers twice in a series titled U.S. Championship Series, which takes place in all three cities. And upon defeating them, is crowned the victor of the U.S. Champion Series. Afterwards, the player returns to Vince's and is rewarded the Lamborghini Murcielago from before. Vince says it should be driven with respect and not by some San Diego swinger who thinks he's hot stuff or something. Street races in Detroit are Roy returning with the Dodge Viper GTS R concept and eventually with a McLaren F1 LM. Spider with the hot match D Elegance. Leo 1981 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Caesar with the Mercedes Benz SLR McLaren. Later, a Lamborghini Gal- the Lamborghini Gallardo, and eventually a Chrysler ME 412. Kiyoshi with the Aprilia RSV 1000 R Mill factory. Later, a Kawasaki Ninja ZX 12R. An Angel Celine S7. Later, a Cadillac Cian. Wow. Yeah, according to the developer Rockstar San Diego, the three cities present in the initial 2005 release of the game were chosen due to their significance to the game's automotive and racing themes. Atlanta was chosen for its pioneering of automobile customization. Detroit due to its status as the birthplace of the U.S. automobile industry, and San Diego for its influence on the development of street racing culture. Rockstar Games also developed a remix version of the game, which was released in March 2006. Yikes! So, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix is a revised edition of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. It is available as a greatest hits released on PlayStation 2 and a platinum hits released on Xbox. The game was released on March 13, 2006, or exactly 11 months after the original version's release. It was released on December 19, 2012 on PlayStation Network for the PS3, but was removed after a passing of time due to licensing issues. The game features all of the city's vehicles, music, and other features from Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. This version of the game also allows the player to import the original game data stored on their memory card hard drive to Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix to make up for lost progress, thus saving the player from starting all over again. The following features were added in Remix: 24 new vehicles, including some from brands not in the original version, such as GMC, Infiniti, Pagani, and Sion. Tokyo as a returning city, which is a slightly updated version of the Tokyo City from Midnight Club 2. It serves as optional career mode Tokyo Challenge. 25 new licensed songs, additional races, and battle maps. Recolored menu UI being recolored from a mostly blue and gold UI to a red, black, silver colored user interface. So the following music can be found in Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, and the remix soundtrack is also included. Musical artists found in the game include numerous Army of the Pharaohs members, the game, Paul Wall, T.I., 50 Cent, Big Timers, Manny Fresh, Fabulous, Bump J, um, Calix, Deep Blue, hang on, Calyx. Yeah, Calix. I said that right. Deep Blue, Ash, Aztec, Mystic, Jimmy Eat World. Oh man. I swear these names are so fucking funny, man. Every time I come across it. All right. Casa being Marilyn Manson, The Explosion, 9 Inch Nails, Sean Paul, Pitbull, Lil Wayne, and other artists. The soundtrack consisted of 99 tracks. The remix's soundtrack consisted of 25 extra tracks, 124 tracks altogether. A large number of Detroit techno artists are also featured on the soundtrack, reflecting the game's setting. Okay, let's go to reception. Let's go to reception here. Hang on 1 second. The PlayStation 2 and Xbox versions of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition received favorable reviews, while the PSP version, which is received average reviews, according to the review aggregation website Metacritic. The game has sold at least 1.1 million copies worldwide on the PS2 version and 3.64 million copies worldwide on the PSP version. The PlayStation Portable release received a Platinum Sales Award from the Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association, and indicating sales of at least 300,000 copies in the United Kingdom. Let's see. So let's go over this. So Metacritic gave the PS2 version 84 out of 100, PSP 74 out of 100, Xbox 84 out of 100. Edge gives PS2 version 6 out of 10, Xbox 6 out of 10, Electronic Gaming Monthly 8.67 out of 10, PSP 7.67 out of 10, Xbox 8.67 out of 10. Eurogamer gives the PSP 8 out of 10, Xbox 9.5 out of 10. No, hold on. I'm sorry. 7 out of 10. I'm sorry. That's Eurogamer. 5 out of 10 for PSP, Xbox 7 out of 10. Game Informer gives it 9.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10 for PSP, and 9.5 out of 10 for Xbox. And of course, Game Pro gives it 4 stars for Xbox. Game Revolution gives it a B plus for PS2, PSP a C, Xbox for B plus. GameSpot gives PS2 8.3 out of 10, 7.3 out of 10 for PSP, 8.3 out of 10. These are like different versions of the game systems of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition that was featured on. Just to let you know right there. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. GameSpot gave PS2 8.3 out of 10, PSP 7.3 out of 10, Xbox 8.3 out of 10. GameSpy gives it 5.5 stars for PS2, 4.5 stars for PSP, and 5.5 stars for Xbox. Game Trailers gives the PS2 version 9.1 out of 10. PSP gives it 7.3 out of 10, and Xbox 9.1 out of 10. Game Zone gives it 9.3 out of 10 for PS2, PSP 8 out of 10, Xbox 9.4 out of 10. IGN gives PS2 9.2 out of 10, PSP 7.1 out of 10, Xbox 9.2 out of 10. Official US PlayStation Magazine gives PS2 4 stars, following 4 stars for PSP. Official Xbox Magazine gives Xbox 9 out of 10. Detroit Free Press gives Xbox 3 stars. The Sydney Morning Herald gives PS2 4 stars. All right, all right, the PlayStation 2 and Xbox versions of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition received favorable reviews, while the PSP version received average reviews. According to the review aggregation website Metacritic, the game has sold at least 1.1 million copies worldwide on the PS2 version and 3.64 million copies worldwide on the PSP version. The PlayStation Portable release received a Platinum Sales Award from the Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association, indicating sales of at least 300,000 copies in the United Kingdom. OneUp.com gives PS2 an A, following an A for Xbox. Eurogamer gives it 7 out of 10 for PS2. Game Informer gives PS2 9.5 out of 10 and 9.5 out of 10 for Xbox as well. GameSpot gives it 8.2 out of 10 for PS2. Same goes with 8.2 out of 10 for Xbox. GameSpy gives PS2 5.5 stars, and same goes with Xbox, 5.5 stars. Game Zone gives Xbox 8.6 out of 10. IGN gives PS2 8.8 out of 10. Xbox gives it 8.8. No, excuse me, 8.8 for Xbox. Excuse me. Official Xbox Magazine US gives Xbox 8.5 out of 10. PlayStation, the official magazine, gives PS2 9.5 out of 10. And VideoGamer.com gives it 8 out of 10 for PS2. Same goes with Xbox, 8 out of 10. The Dub Edition remix received favorable reviews, more so than the original, according to Metacritic. All right, let's get into some let me see. Let's get into some hang on a second here. All right, let's get into hold on, the releases. Let's get into the releases of the games. Let's get into the releases of the games actually. The releases of the games for each month that's coming out. Let me just see. Yeah, so let's go over the month of September that's coming out. So September 3rd, Hirogami comes out for PS5. September 4th, Hell is Us for PS5, Xbox, and PC. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, The Order of Giants expansion comes out on September 4th for PS5, Xbox, and PC. Star Wars Outlaws following the same date on Nintendo Switch 2. Following the same date, Chronos: The New Dawn for PS5, Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox, and PC. Damon and Makina, Titanic Sion, comes out September 5th for Nintendo Switch 2. Following Everybody's Golf Hot Shots for PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Baby Steps, September 8th for PS5. Garfield Kart 2, All You Can Drift on September 10th for PS5, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. And September 11th, Dead Reset comes out on Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PC. Borderlands 4, September 12th, PS5, Xbox, and PC. NHL 26 comes out on September 12th for PS5 and Xbox. All right, I'm about to leave the rest for next time. I am going to wrap up right here. I'm gonna wrap up right here, man, because I need to on the Mets game actually. So let me just wrap this up right here. Hang on a second. Wait, that's not what I meant to do. All right. We're gonna wrap it up with this last segment. Right here. Which is called Stream Choices on the Go. This is where I actually give you some spots to actually follow the podcast on social media, and of course streaming platforms where you can listen to the episodes and stuff. So here it is, Stream Choices on the Go. Hang on. Okay, make sure you follow the entertainment review show Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast on Facebook alongside with Bluesky Social, Threads, and Instagram. Same goes with my sports edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast, and my comedy Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast, as well as myself, G Money Stacks 555. You can follow me on Threads and on Instagram as well. And also, I would like to point out where you can follow, where you can find the streaming platforms where you could actually get into, and I will gladly go over where you could listen to. So let's get to it. So, all right, if you go to the link in bio where it says Linktree/Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast 5, you're gonna see some streaming platforms where you can listen to episodes, starting with Audible, Odyssey, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to leave a review of your feedback, what you think about the topics in each episode, and of course, 5 stars. It'll give me the encouragement for me to keep going, all the strength and energy that I need, and everything else in between. Of course, the podcast is on Good Pods, Castbox FM, these are Listen Notes, Moon FM podcast, Overhaul FM podcast, Pandora, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podorama, Podorama Podcast, Index Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podcatcher, Podcast Republic, Snipped, Spotify. Make sure you add the podcast to your Spotify playlist so you can listen and stream the episodes on Spotify. You can also listen on Spotify for creators. You can also comment on there as well. You can listen on TuneIn Radio, followed by Fountain, alongside with iHeartRadio, the #1 app where you can listen to your favorite music artists, such as your favorite rappers, singers in R&B and different music genres, hip hop artists, radio stations, and you can listen to the podcast episode shows for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is follow, subscribe to the entertainment review show Meticulous Juice podcast on iHeartRadio and other streaming platforms like I just mentioned. And also make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel page so you don't miss out on any video uploads. And please leave a like and a comment on the topics that I just reviewed, and tell me how you feel about the topics in each episode, including this one. Also, make sure you spread the word by sharing the Linktree link with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, and the people you are cool with. And like I said earlier, add the podcast to your Spotify playlist so you don't miss out on any notifications on when each episode is going to be dropped. And of course, enable alerts alongside with the notification bell so you don't miss out on when I'll be on the air via live stream. And of course, more video podcast episode live streams. And of course, new episodes will be dropping on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. All right. Each episode will be dropping on streaming platforms, including YouTube, whenever you listen, stream, and watch your podcast. All right. That's gonna do it for me. I'm your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, and I'd like to say thank you to every single one of you who took the time to listen to the episodes and everything else in between. And of course, I am going to come back with more episodes. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I'm not working at the moment, so I'm actually here. So remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you with a fucking. You're not going to. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. Be sure to also find your niche, follow your goals and dreams, and of course, be on your P's and Q's if you're planning on starting a podcast like I've been doing for the past 3 to 4 years and 5 years actually. And of course, be confident in what you do with your craft. Be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. All right. And also remember, when you are creating content for your podcast and doing promotions and stuff like that on social media and stuff like that, it is a fucking marathon, not a sprint. So be confident in what you do and what you love to do, and be on your P's and Q's. And most importantly, be yourself. Be confident. Don't let anybody stop you in doing what you love. Whether you're covering topics and any topics that you are covering, go ahead and do it. There's no right or wrong time to starting a podcast. There's no right or wrong way to actually hosting your own podcast. And the beauty part about having a podcast show of your own, you don't have to worry about TV ratings and getting canceled and shit, man. Unfortunately, with Stephen Colbert, because of the whole cheese face President 47 bullshit that happened in order for the Skydance and Paramount um, merger to go through, which actually it did. So yeah. And of course, like I said in the podcast free game mechanisms, you don't need a lot of money to actually go to a recording studio to record your podcast episodes and stuff like that. You can do it in the comfort of your home. You can record your podcast in your cars, your living room, your basement, whatever is comfortable for you. All right. And like I said, you can buy your mic, you can buy your headphones, your laptops, your LED lights, your ring lights, of course, a microphone, and of course, StreamYard, which I recommend to all the upcoming new podcasters that's starting, which is one of the best softwares that helped me with the YouTube channel. So there you go. I'm out of here. Peace and one love. Y'all take care of yourselves. I hope y'all are ready for a third round of the heat wave. Make sure you have your bottles of water. Make sure you have your popsicles, your ice creams, your Italian icings, your Gatorades for electrolytes, and of course, if you are out there working hard, whether you are a cop, EMT who's riding the ambulance, and firefighters, delivery drivers who are delivering pizzas from whether it's from Domino's, Papa John's, Instacart, Amazon, you have FedEx, UPS, you have Uber Eats, you have beverage delivery truck drivers, you have all that stuff right there. Make sure y'all don't faint out there. Make sure y'all have your water with you, along with electrolytes for yourself from Gatorade. All right. And of course, if you are looking for cooling centers, you can call 311 and they'll give you like a list of cooling centers in your neighborhood near you in the 5 boroughs and Long Island. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all next time on the flip side with more new episodes. Tune in next time that I am going to be reviewing a movie that came out years ago. You want to know what that is? You have to stay tuned next time in the next episode of the entertainment review show Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast that you've been listening to right here, right now on streaming platforms and YouTube. I'll see y'all next time. Stay safe, stay liquid, and of course, be yourself, be confident, stay hydrated, and stay cool in your air conditioners as well. I'm out of here. Peace and good night, everybody.